What the heck is going on with the Toronto real estate market? I feel like for the first time in a long time, the market doesn't have a general trend, and people aren't talking about the market going up or just going down. It really depends on who you ask and what they're looking for, because you're going to get a different answer depending on who you're talking to. It feels like the market is moving in different directions for different sectors. And in this video, I want to break down what is going on out there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Demetres Giannitsos. I'm a local real estate agent here in the greater Toronto area. And if at any point you want to chat with me, I've left a link down in the description below where you can book a call directly into my calendar. And I've also left some other resources down there that you can go check out, including a free download link to a really cool, fun app for all you home buyers out there that'll give you a little bit of a different experience from anything else you've ever tried. So let's get into it. What is going on out there? I mean, let's start off with the Bank of Canada announcement. Now, normally I do a full video on the Bank of Canada announcements, but yesterday they decided to hold rates at 5%. This didn't really come to a big surprise to anybody. I think everybody expected them to hold rates, and honestly, there's just not a whole lot of context behind it. So I think that, making an entire video dedicated to that is just, not really worth it. I will say that they were a lot more reluctant to talk about rate hikes moving forward, and I think they're just safeguarding themselves just on the off chance that, inflation is a little stickier than they expect. And if they have to hold rates longer, or potentially if it goes up, they have to raise rates. But the general consensus is that they still plan on cutting rates later on in the year. And I think a lot of people are expecting summer to be the first rate cut. Now, I'll say, me personally, I'm kind of happy that they didn't cut rates right before spring season. I know that, especially in the freehold sector, it's already getting pretty competitive. And I think that if they cut rates right before, the busiest selling season, traditionally, at least seasonality wise, I think it would have sent a lot of people into a frenzy, and it would have really heated the market up in a way that was probably, just more stressful than it would need to be. So, I'm actually kind of a fan that they held off for now, and really excited to see what happens moving forward. But I think a lot of people are returning to the market. If we look at the market stats that just came out a few days ago from the February market is looking up. Sales increased, the average price increased almost across every single property type. But one important thing that I really like to track is months of inventory. This is the absorption rate, and this kind of really tells you like the temperature of the market. If we get under 3 months of inventory, we're looking at a seller's market where things get a little bit more heated. You're going to see multiple offers. If we're in a more balanced market, we're looking at 3 to 6 months, and then buyer's market is 6 months plus. We're tracking basically the absorption rate here. And if we look at February, even though we saw an increase in the amount of active listings, we also saw an increase in the amount of active sales, which is actually making the market a little bit tighter and going to be driving prices up, which is exactly what we see when we go to the average sales price. So this chart really shows, breaking it down, and this is for the 416, but for the most part, the numbers are, fairly consistent with even the 905 in terms of the temperature and general trend. We've got detached at the top, semi-detached, townhouses, average sales price in the blue, and then townhouses and condos in the green and the orange. So as you can see, we saw a pretty hefty uptick when it comes to the detached, the semi-detached, and the townhouses. So generally your freehold properties. I know a lot of people have been hearing, the market is heating up. And if you're looking for a freehold property, yeah, things are heating up in a big way. I've seen a lot of properties that have gotten 20 plus offers. And these, for the most part, are the move-in ready homes that are, within 20 minutes of downtown that are getting a ton of attention. And we just don't have a lot of listings. A lot of buyers have come back out and want to pick up these properties, thinking that rates are going to be coming down later in the spring. They're trying to beat everybody to the punch, if you will. And I'll say that I've seen some stuff go for pretty crazy prices. I know a lot of the narrative out there, and I did a TikTok on this, where a lot of agents are talking about how, they're getting a lot of offers, but things are going for realistically what they're worth based on the last recent sales. And while that is true in a lot of cases, I have seen some properties that have gone for a absolute ton or a shocking price. Like there was one on Delaney Crescent that I viewed with my clients. We had checked out all the comparables in the area. This was a small semi-detached, very close to backing onto the train tracks with no parking. And the last recent sale was one that went for 1.1 just down the street. And it was a smaller but more renovated house. And this one actually went on a bully offer for over $1.5 million. I think everybody, including myself, my clients, we had this one pegged at about 1.2, 1.25, and somebody really went for it knowing that it was going to get a ton of attention, and they threw in a preemptive offer, and it was obviously enticing enough to get it done. So, if you're looking in the freehold sector, just be prepared to run into some competition. But I will say, especially as the spring goes on, I am seeing more and more listings come on, which is really good as the buyers are almost starting to get spread across more properties. So those top properties are going to still get so many offers and go for a really good price. But I think there's going to be a lot of other secondary properties that may not get as much attention as the fully renovated one that you'll still be able to pick up for a fair price. But the general consensus for freehold homes is that the trend is going up. It is busy out there. It is competitive. And I don't really see this slowing down anytime soon for the freehold homes. Now, when it comes to condos, you can see that it's kind of been moving a little sideways here over the last little bit. And February did see an increase in the average sales price in condos, even though it is small, but it is notable. But condos is a super interesting property class right now. I feel like there is this struggle between sellers and buyers where buyers still want to negotiate everything and get a very good deal. Sellers are hearing about how the market's heating up, especially in the freehold sector, and they know that rates are coming down. So they're still thinking that they're going to be able to get top dollar. And in a lot of cases, there feels like there's a stalemate there. But we've definitely seen a lot more inventory on the condo side, and there's still some really good deals for buyers out there. It really just depends on the property. Really desirable condos are still going, and sometimes in multiple offers. But what we're noticing is that there's a lot of investors out there that are just maybe tired of the interest rates. They're having issues with vacancies with the rental market, which we'll get into in a little bit, and they're deciding to try to sell their properties. When it comes to the condo market right now, there still is some good opportunities. I had a client, an investor client, who's picked up a couple condos in the last couple months, and we were able to source out some really good deals by finding some motivated sellers. And there are motivated sellers out there who are typically investors right now, whether they had bought it pre-con, they've just closed on it, and the higher interest rates are, putting them in a position where they need to sell. But we were able to pick up a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom corner unit at XO Condos for under $1,000 a square foot for a brand new building, not an assignment. We were able to pick up a really good 2-bedroom at 576 Front Street for the lowest sale price for a 2-bedroom condo in 2 years. So I think if you put in the extra work and you're looking in the condo market, and you're open to buildings and locations, whether you're an investor or maybe you're a first-time buyer who's just looking for something to walk into some equity, there are some really good buys out there. You just got to seek them out, find the motivated sellers. And for sellers, if you've got a really good condo, stuff is still moving, especially if you got a great condo, you still may even get multiple offers. And even in the spring, I've started to see some offer dates return to condos. Now, I would say that it's probably not the best strategy unless you have an absolute rock star of a condo, but we're starting to see it a little bit, but it's definitely more in the balanced category. I think the condos are super interesting right now just because the condo market is so heavily influenced by investors, and especially with the rental market, because a large portion of the condos are being rented out. And with so many new developments closing and taking occupancy at the same time, it's really flooding the market with properties for rentals, which is bringing down the price of rents, which is putting more strain on these investors who are in some cases having to sell their properties. So, and that's a really good segue into the rental market, because I've noticed that things are quite soft. It's not like what we had last year in the spring where things heated up and tenants were having a very hard time to find places. And there is still time. It's early March, and I would think that things would heat up, but there is a really large amount of condos that have taken occupancy where you will see an entire building all filled with rentals taking occupancy at the exact same time, and tenants are having a ton of options to choose from. So landlords are not able to be as picky as they were before. Prices are going to be a little bit more negotiable than they were before. And I think that's positive news for the most part for people who are looking to get into the rental market. I know that it's such a huge problem in our market, and I think that for renters out there, this is a nice little grace period where if you're looking to make a move rather than, fighting and paying a year up front, like we were seeing last year, it's an opportunity where you can actually go get a rental and, have a few options to pick from and not have to, put a huge amount of money down. So if I had to graph what is going on in the Toronto real estate market right now, I guess you could say freehold properties are trending upwards. Condos are kind of moving sideways, but maybe a little bit on the uptrend, and rentals are moving sideways, maybe a little bit on the downtrend. But like I said, for the first time in a long time, it feels like the market is kind of moving in different directions for different property classes. And again, this is going to be dependent on the area, the type of building, or the type of home that you're looking to buy. I hope that helps give you an idea of what is actually going on out there in the Toronto real estate market. It's a tricky one to navigate. So if anybody has any questions, feel free, drop them down below in the comment section or reach out through booking a call using the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.